Generally speaking, these investment conferences are largely consistent of, I would say, developers, operators, lenders, investors, and then the adjacent industries. You'll get architects and you'll get designers and you'll get a lot of sort of on the periphery, a lot of adjacent industries. And truth be told, it's funny, I talk about Alice specifically because Alice has this setting at the Marriott at LA Live, and it has a second floor. And as you stand up on that balcony of the second floor and look down, I've always joked that it's changed over time because, it was literally a sea of blue suits. And as you're going around looking for the person you want to meet, it was hard to identify anyone. It's like, where are you? What are you wearing? Oh, you're wearing a blue suit. Got it. Like the 3,000 people that are here. Clearly all middle-aged men, by and large, literally all middle-aged men, white middle-aged men. And as time progressed, it's changed because some people started to catch on to the idea that, well, I need to stand out. In fact, my really good friend, Matt Marquis, the CEO of Pacifica, wore like this like zoot suit, like really bright and colorful and corduroy and whatever it was. It could stand out. So it would be easy enough when someone was trying to find him, he'd be like, I'm the guy not wearing a blue suit. And boom, there he was. But it became somewhat of a joke. As time moved on, the ties came off because that's what we did as an industry or as a society. And then slowly but surely, jeans found their way through with sports coats, still men, middle-aged white men. I would say, in fairness, you started seeing some women, those that moved, pushed their way through the noise and really wanted to be there and be part of it. And you started seeing some women, but certainly very, very underrepresented. We have the crutch, I call it, of claiming diversity because we are, in fact, a very, very diverse industry. But we are diverse at the bottom of the ladder. And as you slowly climb up that ladder, the ladder gets wider and wider and wider. So these investment conferences were a clear indication of our lack of diversity in our industry at the top and in the C-suite. And obviously, your general population in a hotel, your housekeepers, your servers, your heart of house people, sort of the on-the-ground soldiers don't come to these meetings. It was only the generals, as it were, and the generals were all middle-aged white men. So as we claim diversity in our industry, the clear indication that we're in fact not diverse across the spectrum is to come to one of those conferences and look around, because we are not even remotely close to representing the real world in terms of diversity. I think if there were more women at these conferences, 50%, I think the conversation changes. I think, truth be told, for me, going to a lot of these conferences, they became monotonous in a way because you kept hearing the same thing from the same people, repeated again and again. And there is sort of this, we men, and I'm speaking for my kind, tend to be world conquerors. Everyone you met was buying 7 million hotels and crisscrossing the globe and conquering the world. And the conversations became somewhat shallow, it seems. And I think changing the conversation, having more women, having different voices, different perspectives would definitely change the conversation and make it more interesting. Because I certainly, when I go out with friends to a cocktail party, I don't want to go talk to people exactly like me again and again and again. I want different perspective. And I think women bring such a great different perspective and different way of looking at things. We're still talking business, right? This is a business-centric conference, but I just want to hear different perspective rather than the same stuff regurgitated again and again. I think it would be a game changer. It would be a conversation changer for the better. It would provide new perspective. I think if we were to include more people, particularly women in these conferences and people of color and, I mean, there's such broad spectrum of diversity that we need in those conferences. I think then hopefully those with vision and foresight will see the value and will start seeing more of those people of all colors and kinds and sexes and nationalities, not just at the conferences because it's easy enough, but in fact in those positions. Because changing the narrative in the conference is one thing. I want to see the narrative changing in real life, in the real world. I'd love to see more women in the C-suite, more women owners, developers. And again, there are those that are fighting their way through. We just need to quit making it a fight for them and just getting out of their way and letting them get there. I think the way women could help move our industry forward, particularly in a post-pandemic world, I think their approach to doing business is unique in their own way. I think their voice is unique in its own way. And I think to the extent that we have more decision makers that are different than us, I mean, clearly you're just going to see a different outcome because we keep going to the same well, to the same school of Hotels 101 and doing the same things we've done again and again. And I think having a different perspective really will change the narrative and will allow us to think about things differently. And my point about in a post-pandemic world, I think women innately are just more empathetic. And think about the value of empathy going forward. Women don't need men to help them. They do not. They're completely capable of doing it. They just need men to get out of their way and stop creating systems that oppress them.